evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Philip Jones. I am the president and CEO of Visit Dallas, and I'm here on behalf of the Dallas Travel and Tourism and Hospitality community. We believe that HB 2899 would cause disruption and damage to our state's reputation and our economy. And I would like to note that in November of 2014, Dallas citizens voted overwhelmingly to approve a city charter amendment to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, as well as gender identity and expression. Their voice and the voice of other Texas communities should not be overturned or eliminated by this legislation. HB 2899 could risk our ability to promote Dallas and other Texas cities as welcoming and eager to do business with visitors from all walks of life. The two largest meeting planner associations in the nation, ASAE and PCMA, have indicated that if HB 2899 passes with its current wording, it would seriously risk the ability of the two largest meeting planner associations and its memberships from bringing conventions, large meetings, and other events to the state of Texas. Right now, 1 in 10 trade shows in the United States are held in the state of Texas, bringing in about $8 billion annually to our great state. And as Ashley from Visit San Antonio shared with you, a Perryman study was recently completed, and the study found that in the Dallas-Plano-Irving MSA alone, over $1.3 billion in annual economic loss would occur if state legislation passes that is perceived as unwelcoming social policy. So this level of economic activity is at risk to Texas should a law like HB 2899 be passed. Our opinion is that there is a more effective way to promote public safety in such venues. To truly protect all Texans, we believe you could increase the penalties for assault or other crimes committed in multi-use restrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, or shower areas. And in the spirit of working collectively and constructively, I'd like to offer 4 suggestions for potential amendments. First, allow Texas municipalities that currently have a non-discrimination ordinance to keep them. Second, allow Texas municipalities moving forward to adopt a non-discrimination ordinance through a voter referendum. Third, limit the application of the bill to restrooms, changing areas, and showers within government-owned or K-12 school facilities. And fourth, exempt out stadiums, convention centers, and entertainment venues, and exempt out all government-owned facilities to the extent that they are leased out to private entities. At this time, however, we would like to say we oppose 2899 and hope you will consider these suggestions. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jones, thank you. I think Representative Rodriguez has some.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quickly, are you familiar with the North Carolina law, the one that's most recent? How do you think this, based on what you've seen on this bill, compares to that one?
I think actually from what our clients are telling us is that they think that the North Carolina legislation is better than the current HB 2899 that is proposed.
Would you agree that the way I think this bill is written, it actually would permit local governments to discriminate? Would you agree with that?
I certainly think that's a possibility. Yes, I agree with you.
North Carolina one, as far as the way I read it, very specifically and strictly kind of prohibits locals from discriminating. So I think that's a very key difference in my mind.
I agree, and I think it gives the cities the ability in a couple of years to provide for themselves what they view as being the proper non-discrimination ordinances.
And then looking at it aside from the discrimination aspect of it, just looking at it from economic development standpoint or economics, certain NCAA or whoever it might be more willing to go to North Carolina perhaps versus a Texas if a law like this were in place. Would you think?
Absolutely, and I think you raise a very important point. We hear from some folks that, North Carolina had the best tourism year they ever had, record occupancy, record hotel stays, record visitation numbers, and that's true for 2016. But because of the law that was passed prior to this current revision, many meeting planners canceled their meetings and took North Carolina off of their list of consideration. And you talk to our counterparts in Raleigh and Charlotte and others, their books are virtually empty for 2018 and beyond because groups book many years into the future. And that's why this could be so damaging. Just talking about it is harming us.
I mean, they were under contract to fulfill those. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Chair Giddings.
Thank you. Philip, what are you hearing? I heard Visit San Antonio say that they had heard from some prospective conventions, conferences that were saying, we're not sure. Are you hearing?
Unfortunately, we are the #1 convention destination in Texas, and I have 24 customers that currently have either booked Dallas and they have meetings coming to our city, or they want to put Dallas in their list of cities for consideration for a future year, that have indicated in writing that if this legislation or anything like it were to pass, they would cancel their meeting in Dallas and take Dallas and Texas off their list for any future consideration. And we've run the numbers, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about $150 million in lost revenue that's at stake today.
I'm not sure what problem we're trying to solve here.
I'm with you, Representative Giddings. We're not aware of any single incident in which a transgender individual has attacked someone in a restroom, a locker room, or a changing facility. Not anywhere in the state of Texas, not anywhere in the United States that we're aware of. So I'm not sure why we're passing legislation that could cause such economic harm to our state because of the perception that we're a state that does not welcome people from all backgrounds and all walks of life.
So the bill that we're considering right now is probably less desirable from the standpoint of Visit Dallas and some of our sports organizations than the latest version of the North Carolina bill.
That's correct. I mean, it's important to know that I've spoken to all my counterparts in the major cities in Texas, and we all are in opposition to this bill. And we have talked to the NCAA, the NFL, the NBA, and they've told us, please do what you can to make sure legislation like we had in North Carolina, like they had in North Carolina, does not pass in Texas. We love coming to Texas. We do not want to take Texas off our list because we have great events when we come to Texas.
That kind of economic impact is not just about dollars, it's also about jobs.
Correct. Or, the $1.3 billion that's at risk, also 12,000 jobs at risk.
Right.
And that's on an annual basis.
And again, in Dallas, we really don't have any reports of people being hurt in bathrooms, attacked, or
No, ma'am.
that kind of thing.
Never happened.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Jones, and I believe you're right, I don't believe there's ever been any incidents that I'm aware of in this state where there's been a problem. But you mentioned your areas, your points that you had talked about need to be addressed. Is it your testimony that if those areas were addressed, that this would be something that would not necessarily negatively impact your industry?
Correct. I spoke to both ASAE and PCMA today and ran these options by them. And they indicated that if those were included in this substitute bill, that they would be okay and would not boycott Texas and would be okay with the legislation if it included those 4 items.
Well, once again, thank you for giving us issues that we need to consider addressing. So we appreciate that.
Yes, sir. My
If there's
pleasure.
any other questions? No other questions? We'll go ahead and call next.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bill Kelly, Mayor's Office, City of Houston, and self, Director of Governmental Relations, here to speak against the bill. I guess he's left. We'll show him against the bill, not testifying.